Hi everyone, welcome to a very special podcast. We're talking about Steven Universe. I've got with me Mr. Drowning in Footwear and HippoCrit, aka Gibbon Take. Say hello, my compadres.
Hey, hello.
How's it going?
We all watched Steven Universe within the last few days. There's, 52 episodes out right now?
52.
Yeah, it's like 2 episodes into Season 2. And we're going to spoil everything probably in this conversation, so if you're just here to get like a recommendation or like know if you should watch it and sort of gauge it, but you don't want to be spoiled, my general impressions of Steven Universe. Great show. I think we all enjoyed it a lot, which is why we're doing a podcast on it.
Yeah.
Fantastic art design and sound design, great soundtrack. Lots of lovable, memorable characters who are very quickly leave an impression. You'll probably know within the first couple episodes whether or not it's your kind of show, though it does get better as it goes. That's it. So go watch it and then come back here and listen to us spoil. Yeah. Well, I just want to,
Well, now we can just go nuts about
yeah,
stuff
we can talk
we
about
saw.
anything.
Like, my favorite thing is crying breakfast friends.
Yeah, what the fuck was that?
That's just that one scene. It was just the most hilarious thing.
Is it a whole TV show?
I think it was. It's just a kid's TV show with crying breakfast things.
Yeah, like horribly depressed breakfast creatures, and they've got stickers that they put on all the defunct teleporters. Those are great. I love it when a show like that sticks to its inane shit, you know? Like, that show exists in that world, and it will keep coming up again.
Yeah, it wasn't just a throwaway gag or anything.
Yeah, like the first episode is all about the what was the name of the cat treat that he was eating?
Cookie Cat.
Yeah, Cookie Cat, and then Cookie Cat gets brought up like 2 or 3 more times, even though there's no more of them in existence, but he keeps referencing back to it. It's a show that is a continuous narrative the whole way through.
Yeah.
Which people were saying that was what's cool, because I know Jesse's a big on continuity guy, but this is not like all those, like, almost all the new cartoons have continuity to some extent, but it always seems like it's in the background. This show, it's in the foreground, like it's about this continuous story. It's definitely
yeah. I mean, a lot of things get brought up just for no reason, just because, but it's not. It doesn't feel forced, like they're putting it in there. Say, look, we remember that. It's just, it makes sense for it to be mentioned.
It's a show that you can't imagine that the episodes were produced out of order, or that they were written out of, like, with for instance, My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, which we are all fans of, which is probably why anyone knows who any of us are. That show has like a continuity, but it's so loose, and it's so like only the season opener and the season ender like really matter that much, and everything else could just be switched around whenever. This is not like that. Every episode is a continuation of the previous episode, even if it's mostly an episodic storyline.
And it's almost like every single episode in some way. Like, even if it's like a more self-contained episode, there's still some world building going on in it.
Right. It's a show where everything that happens matters. I don't think any of it's just purely dicking around. Although, what's funny is there are a lot of episodes, because they're only 11 minutes long, and they go by super fast. Yeah. And there's a lot of episodes where for the first, 8 minutes, I was just like, where the fuck is this going? Like, I have no fucking idea where this is going. And then in, the last minute or two, it clicks, and it all makes sense, and it was important and relevant, you know? Yeah. I think the best example of an episode where I was just completely like, what is going on, was when Steven got the little pet bug thing.
Oh yeah.
It was one of the gem monsters, and he's just raising this thing all day, and it was it was one of those plots where he thinks that it might be good, but they all think it's evil, and they're trying to fight it, and it just seems like a generic cartoon plot until the end, when it turns out that it was that was the first time we found out that the enemies were actually gems. And then the idea that he could uncorrupt it is, important, because then the mid-season finale is that he fixes Lapis Lazuli, and even though she was a corrupted gem, she might be able to come back. So it's the first proving ground for the idea that Steven will eventually be the one who can heal the broken gems. You know?
I've noticed in, pretty much every oh my god moment, that every big reveal, every thing like huge world building thing, it's sort of it's preceded in like a previous episode or 2 episodes ago about something that's like, oh yeah, that could happen, and then when it happens, you're not surprised, but it's still cool.
They're definitely not making this shit up as they go.
Yeah.
I like there's like the episode where like he gets a lion friend, and you're like,
yes.
oh, that's okay, that's cool. He's like, he got a little lion for this episode. Then at the end of the episode, he's just like, I'm gonna keep it, and then he just has a lion for the rest of the series.
And then the lion turns out to be critically important to everything,
And then
which
is the thing.
And then in retrospect, it's like you should have known, because the episode where he first goes inside of its mane and there's like all the stuff from Rose there, like it was around halfway through that episode that I went, this, like, because they had talked about his mom at the start of the episode, and then the whole episode the lion kept laying on his face, and at that point I went, I think this lion is secretly either is his mom or is connected to his mom somehow, because the lion's pink and it was obsessed with him, and they brought up his mom. And later in the episode that kind of turns out to be true, and then like much later when the other gems find out the lion's tied to the mom, then they're like, I should have known because it was pink. And they were like, yeah, that was a big hint. And I was sitting there like, yeah, that's exactly what I thought like 20 episodes ago. The fact that it's pink seems like it might be connected, and it's like the show kind of rewards you for being attentive and thinking about that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's not just the big stuff. There's also like when he got banned from TV, that just kept going, and then it became part like the episode where he starts reading Connie's books.
Right.
And
Yeah,
the reason he started reading is he's banned from TV, and it's like, yeah,
you've seen the latest
that.
episode, right, Hippo?
Yeah, he gets unbanned with the thing. But it's cool that they kept it up and they referenced it a bunch of times. It actually became a plot in itself. Because it seems,
I love that
when it was introduced,
that,
it was like a joke at the end, kind of.
Right. Well, I love that he remembers and that probably no one else does.
Yeah.
There's like a point where his dad's like, "We banned you from TV? When the fuck did that happen?" Like, it's almost like that's nodding to the fact that a lot of people probably won't like get the continuity or be able to keep up with everything. Because it's definitely getting to that point where it's like you need to know what's going on. Like, this is not a show that you're going to be able to tune in to any random episode in season 2 and be like, I know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense if you marathon it.
Although,
I don't know
exactly
how it's going to be like week after week, it coming out like just 11 minutes per week.
Right.
Remembering
I'd probably...
Well, like the first episode that I watched was one of the most recent ones where they're escaping from the spaceship. And it was like the part 2 of it was the first one I watched where they're escaping. And you find out that Garnet is 2 people. So I already knew that, like, going into the first episode.
Yeah.
But then that was cool because, like, watching it, there's, like, all these little clues and stuff, like, all throughout the series. And you're like, wow, they really thought about this.
Yeah, I also, because it was, like, episode 2 or 3, I noticed that she had gems in both of her hands. And I was like, how come she gets 2 and everybody else gets 1? And then I was watching this with my brother Shade, and he told me, oh, it turns out she's actually 2 people. And I was like, oh. So then at some point I noticed... that they were going through the doors that lead into the inner sanctum of the house. What's it called? The shrine? They're going into the shrine. And when there's like a 5-point star on the door of the shrine or temple or whatever it's called. And when each of them goes through, there's one of the things lights up that corresponds to them. And I didn't realize it at first, but when Garnet goes through, she lights up 2 stones on the 5-point star. So like it confused me because there's one scene where all 4 of them go in and it lights up 4 lights but not the top one, and I just thought that was all 4 of them, but Steven's light is the top one. So later when I saw him go through and it was the top one, I went, oh, there's 2 lights that are Garnet, and because she's 2 people, and wouldn't have ever noticed that if I hadn't been thinking about the fact that
they put that in there, because like people could have figured it out before it happened.
Right, from episode 1 you could
like
have
from when they introduced the fusion idea. People
and the fact
probably
that she
would have gone
eyes,
like, "Oh my god, I got a theory," and then it turns out to be true, and they're like, "Whoa!"
I feel like someone must have.
And there's
enough
episode
evidence
where like they're trying to teach Steven how to fuse, and he fuses with Connie like by accident.
I love that.
Yeah, and when he goes to them, like they all look like really surprised, but like just Garnet is just like smiling like ecstatically, and like it's like the first time in the series that she ever smiles like she's very like a reserved character.
Yeah.
And then she has that line where she's like, Steven, you're not one person or two person, you're an experience. Make sure it's a good one. And she
seems like what a good fucking line.
Yeah, she seems so weirdly happy about it. Then like going into it knowing that, you're like, oh wow, that's really cool.
Right. And it's also sort of suggested that Ruby and Sapphire, the parts that make her up, are definitely in love.
Oh yeah, totally.
From what it seemed. So
yeah, the fusion is definitely like the Gem version of sex.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of sexual metaphors because when Garnet and Pearl fuse, she like throws Pearl against the wall and puts her arms there. And the thing is, this show, I know neither of you have seen this, but there's an anime series called Revolutionary Girl Utena, which is a extremely classic show from the mid-90s. So like came out right after Eva, that kind of time period. And Utena is known for like it's a magical girl series that was made when like the writers of the last season of Sailor Moon wanted to do some like basically they couldn't get away with all the crazy shit they wanted to do in Sailor Moon, so they made it a new group and made this show to be like their crazy adult symbolism filled sex filled magical girl series. And it's very elegant and refined of a series, but it's also constantly sexual. Like, everything is a sexual metaphor in the show. And Pearl, her character is, like, exactly like the main character in Utena. She's, like, sort of somewhat uptight, somewhat of, like, I have to, save everyone. And she's, like, a knight character. Her outfit looks just like her. Her sword fighting style is, like, shot-for-shot copies scenes from Utena. And, just seeing, like, those little sexual elements thrown into Steven Universe gave me that vibe. Like, this is definitely deliberate. It's supposed to look sexual in a way,
It's pretty clever how, like, because, I mean, the way that they do the fusions, it's pretty, like, blatantly, like, an intimate sort of sexual thing.
Right.
And, like, just watching it, it's cool, but when you think about it, it's also, like, in its own way, it builds on the lore of it even more so, because it makes sense that, like, if you have this race of people who are made out of rocks and they're not really human and they don't really breed and they're presumably all female, so it makes sense that, like, that's how they would come together if they were, like, in love or something.
Gemstone fusion, which is like a thing, right? Gemstone fusion?
Probably. Yeah, definitely. Although I'm not sure. Ruby looks vaguely male. I'm not sure if they're all...
Yeah, I couldn't tell.
I assumed they were all, like, female-shaped, even if they're not really gender or whatever, but Ruby kind of... I don't know.
I have no idea if they have a solid... Because really, none of them really have boobs.
Yeah, well, like, Steven says in that one episode, like, early on, that their bodies are illusions anyways. Like, they're really just the rocks. Yeah. So they're not really gendered at all.
Yeah.
But they
even
look
though
female. Yeah.
But we know that they have some sort of waste disposal organs, considering that Amethyst likes to have things pass through her. This is one of those shows that is absolutely nothing like what my first impression of it was.
Yeah.
Like, as someone who had not watched it for the first year of its existence and just kind of derided it out of hand. But mostly because, like, I think what I figured it out, like, from episode 1. I, like, actually sitting down watching the show, I immediately understood that it was totally different. And it's because the gems aren't human. And they don't act human, and they don't act like... I think the first episode I ever saw on TV... This is probably the worst episode to have introduced me to the show. Not that it's a bad episode. But it was the one where they go and Amethyst and Steven become wrestlers.
Yeah. And...
it's a cool episode, but it gave me the impression that Amethyst and Pearl not getting along is like this. It's sort of cliche, right? She's the gross and hardy one, and she's the prim and proper one. And I just thought it was going to be that kind of show. Like, the characters all have disagreements all the time. They fight over petty shit, and then in the end, they reconcile their differences. Oh boy, that was the impression I had from watching that. But when you understand what kind of characters these are, that they're not human, and that, like, that they have this deeper bond, that they are, like, they're thousands of years old, and Amethyst is like a fucking like created monster that they like tamed and brought onto their side.
It does a really good job of making all the characters really flawed and like 3-dimensional, but still likable.
Yeah,
like how Pearl is like, she's like super motherly and super caring, but she's also like really neurotic and selfish
OCD.
and doesn't really understand humans.
Yeah. Oh man,
like
Pearl's
Amethyst
my favorite.
is just like this super insecure little monster.
Yeah. I love them all, and I think like what's imperative towards making the gems work is that they're all adults.
Yeah.
And really like Steven and Connie are like the only kids in the show, and Connie's really smart. So Steven's like the only dumb kid.
And it doesn't really treat them like kids. Like it treats them like intelligent characters.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, it does that, but I think it's a show that that's populated by adult characters who feel adult, and Steven's the only one who like. It would be so easy for a show like this. Like I said, my first impression was that it was going to be like petty squabbles, you know, because most American cartoons, the characters are all very childish. They all sort of just fight amongst themselves and get into these petty squabbles that don't matter, and you're just like, why am I watching this? But in this show, all of their conflicts, like, were things I could see myself getting into arguments about, you know? Like, it was always about, like, responsibility and duty. Like, that's one of the biggest themes of the show is responsibility and sort of Steven
it's never
coming
like
into
one character
adulthood.
just being blatantly horrible. It's always
Right.
like you can sort of see why these characters would be fighting in like both sides of it.
Yeah, even with that episode where, you know, when you first see it, it just seems like if I didn't have any context like I did in the first time, it just seems like Pearl's being a bitch for no reason. You know, like, why does she care what Amethyst does with her free time? But when you have the context of like understanding Amethyst's character, then it makes more sense why Pearl would be mad, why Garnet would be mad, and then the fact that they come to sort of an agreement in the end, it's like, oh, okay, you know, everyone's kind of on the same page. That's how most episodes end.
Yeah.
Everyone kind of gets it, you know.
It's sort of like it's a lot like real life, where like you can be like super angry at like your best friends, but even if you're really mad at them, you're not really mad at them. You don't really like by the end of the day, who gives a shit?
So, speaking of first impressions, my first impression of the show, because I saw it on Tumblr a lot, I didn't like the character designs at all.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
I felt like they I mean, first of all, Steven's fat. Ew.
Yeah.
Ew.
And Amethyst is fat, and
Ew.
Garnet's like vaguely blackish.
Yeah,
but the point
Pearl's
was
like
this
weird ballerina, this albino.
I think
thing.
what you're both getting at is that it looked like a Tumblr.
Yeah, it looked
it looked like
Tumblr
Tumblr bait. That's the thing. That is
right.
Like,
Which, in all honesty,
it's fine.
We all should have known better. And I'm gonna say this because Tumblr doesn't like things because they're made for Tumblr. They like things because, you know, like, how do I put it? Everything Tumblr likes, I like too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Tumblr just takes what's good about, like, they take what they like about it, and they make it like the show's about that, you know?
I mean,
but just from looking at the character designs, it's very easy to assume, like, oh, these guys come together and they put their little diversity rings together and form a big gay fucking parade.
Right. I think so
mean,
much emphasis is. I think it's that it draws your attention away. Where when you see people on Tumblr who are like fixated on, oh, it's so cool that the show has multiple body types. I'm like, yeah, that is cool, but that's just like a symptom of what's good about the show. Like, it having cool body types doesn't make the show good. The show is good, and it's also cool that they have unique body types.
Some people would disagree that it's not just cool because of the body. I've seen people on Tumblr leave comments like, oh, I love it, it's so good, it's got so many diverse ethnicities in it. You know, that's the only good point.
They're not even ethnic, they're fucking gems.
Whenever they're talking about anything, like...
I mean, Garnet's definitely black, but they are gems.
When they're I mean, like, just in general, like, on Tumblr, when people are talking about, like, anything, like, I don't know...
Yeah.
Garnet is like every
stuff,
black
like,
British
oh
person
my god,
ever.
It's got, like, female leads. Ooh, I love it. It's like, really? Is that the thing? I mean, I guess it is.
Any denial you could have over Garnet being black disappeared when she did that rap song in episode
when she
like
fucking
50.
sang Just the Two of Us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't get me wrong. I appreciate that it has all these different body types and stuff, and I do think that's cool. But it's not a reason to like a show.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I guess maybe for some people it is.
By the way, it's been in my head for like 3 days.
So, all the songs are just perfect.
Yes,
it's a really like triumphant moment too. Like, the song like fits the scene so perfectly, and it's so catchy.
They're all like very down note songs. They all have like, I don't know enough about music to say this confidently, but I feel like they have lots of minor chords and just like really, that's sort of like a ambivalent sound, which is, I mean, this is the same girl who did the music for Adventure Time, which is a show about ambivalence.
They're very chill and relaxed. They're not bombastic, like super theater sort of pieces. They're just
I feel like I should have known better when I was like dismissing the show early on and not wanting to watch it, because like Rebecca Sugar, I do like her. She made like all the best Adventure Times. Right. So like I always knew that like this show's probably good, but it looks fucking gay, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's a hard sell, especially when the people trying to sell it are selling it from an angle that is like, you know, well, would you guys just like anything that had unique body types?
But you can definitely see watching it, like if you've seen like I Remember You or any of those like really feelsy Adventure Time episodes, you can watch Steven Universe and you can easily see, oh yeah, this is obviously the same girl who made that.
Right.
It's got that same like vibe to it.
It's a hard sell. As hard as diamond.
Like, it's like that melancholy, but also kind of joyful and serene to it.
Right. Ambivalent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will also say this. I like the character designs now.
Yeah, they grow on you.
I'd say, because I always loved Pearl from, like, because the second episode I ever saw, after that last one I talked about, is the one where Pearl tries to fly into space, the rocket ship one, where they build a rocket. You know what I'm talking about?
We all remember
Okay.
them.
She builds a rocket and tries to fly into space, and she gets, like, super obsessed with it. And that episode, it was like the second episode I ever saw of the show on TV, but the whole time she's smiling, and she's like really excited, and she's fucking adorable the whole time. And I didn't know her character well enough to know that she's, you know, not always like that. Like, this was like a really special thing that she's really excited this whole time. And just like, I have a thing for passionate characters. Anytime a character is like really passionately into something, then that's like my favorite. So seeing this character be that way immediately made me love her.
And I like that, like, she has, like, I like her character in that, like, she'll do stuff like that, and like she's so obsessed with it, she doesn't even realize that she's doing something kind of selfish and horrible.
Right. Yeah, she's like, I'll bring it back in 50 years. Like, oh. Yeah, she definitely has those off the rails moments where she thinks because she always thinks she's right, so she won't question it. But
I love that. I love that one episode where she broke down and ran away.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah,
that was like the high point
episode. You know, as a side note, we were watching that episode, and my brother kept building me up for it because he was like, "Oh, there's like a really emotional episode with Pearl," and the episode came, and he's like, "Oh, this is the one," you know. And so it gets to the feelsy scene, and I'm feeling it. And then he, like, hugs her, and I'm like, oh, and then in my head I start thinking, the feels start coming, and they don't stop coming. And then for the next solid minute, I had Smash Mouth stuck in my head, and I was like, I was just sitting there giggling for no reason, like a fucking idiot. Like, the super emotional scenes happening, and I'm thinking about Smash Mouth. But it was a great episode.
Yeah, the character designs definitely grow on you as you begin to realize, oh, I get it. It's a race, and they're all different rocks in different colors, and that's actually cool. Like, because just seeing them, you'd be like, oh, they're a bunch of different colors and shapes, and who gives a shit?
Amethyst was the one that grew on me the most, like, and it was, like, really quick, where, like, seeing her before, I just thought, whatever, she's, because as my brother put it, she's a fat goth girl, is what he said, and I was like I get why you'd see that, but when you actually know her personality, she's not like that, you know. She's not a goth girl. Like I said, that Tiger episode was kind of the worst one to see first because it was her at her weakest.
Yeah.
And she's not usually weak like that. She's usually having a good time.
I find myself more and more strangely attracted to Amethyst as the series goes on.
Well, because she has that when she's like
she's got that like perfect like that sloppy, cushiony like I just want to be in there.
She's adorable.
I remember you actually saying
something
hugs. Like at the very beginning where you're starting to watch it. Like Amethyst is like everything, the worst things about a girl all in one.
Yeah.
And now you love her.
But then you watch it more and you're like, oh my god, she's like the worst things about she's grimy and dirty and I want to lick her ass.
She's very huggable. She looks like I would use her as a pillow if I was friends with her. She reminds me of my own, because my best friend is a big fat guy who I use as a pillow. So she reminds me of him in that regard.
Mine
and
too,
she's just so, like, what gets me about the show is everyone's so friendly. And, like, that was what got me from the beginning, like, with episode 2 or so. Just the fact that even though the characters are, they try to be strict with Steven, but they're not nearly as strict as they honestly should be some of the time. Where, like, he fucks up really bad, and they're just like, all right, Steven, stay here, we'll take care of it. Like, no one ever, like, really yells at him, you know?
Yeah.
Like every once in a while, they're disappointed in him, but they usually are, like, they just kind of coddle him to a point that it's almost unhealthy. They're like two coddling parents, you know? They're like my parents, and you see how I turned out.
I had a feeling they did that because, like, Steven is Rose, kind of, and they... You know,
right? Yeah, I mean that's definitely why they're taking care of him.
Rose.
But it's interesting that way because it makes them. No one ever seems like a jackass in the show. Everyone always seems so nice and inviting, and like you want to be friends with them. Like,
you get the sense that like Pearl doesn't really like humanity that much, but she's just like so yandery for Rose that she's like she only likes Steven. Like she even kind of is like dismissive of Greg.
Yeah, I mean Greg is. They're all kind of dismissive of Greg because, like, he's
which is sad because Greg is like the best dad ever in a cartoon.
He is pretty cool.
He's like the most competent dad in the history of TV.
He is weirdly, even though like he obviously doesn't know how to get his own shit under control, but he is actually a good father figure a lot of the time. He can make some stupid ass decisions. Like when they're in the van and he's like, let's get out and walk on foot through the blizzard. It's just like, oh, and no one questions it because they're kids. It's like if anyone else had been here, this would not be happening.
And I love that episode where Greg and Amethyst start watching that show in the trailer.
Little Butler.
And like she like tries to fuck him or something. Like
yeah, that was weird. I was like, what? I couldn't tell if they were trying to imply that like.
Well, that's how I took it. I took it that they were implying that, like, they used to be, like, fuck buddies after Rose died. Because, like, earlier in the episode, Pearl goes, like, they did this before. They watched that show.
Right. But I think
and then they just stopped for some reason.
Because what Amethyst says at one point, he says, like, we need to something. And she says, like, I used to have a buddy, but then she started hanging out with you. So I got the impression that, like, Amethyst was actually mad at him because Rose started dating him and she was hanging out with Rose, maybe? I honestly couldn't tell if she was mad. Like, obviously she hung out with one of them, either him or Rose, well, and then they started hanging out with the other.
Well, I read it as, like, tying into her whole, like, insecure thing about being created, like...
Right.
Like, everything to her is, like, I'm not good enough, and, like, you could see how, like, because she's a shapeshifter, like, he would have fucked her in Rose mode after, like, I could see them, like, Rose being gone and them, like, taking comfort in each other. It sounds so fucking gay, but, like, her eventually, like, creeping him out too much and he just, like, breaking it off. This is the gayest thing I've ever fucking said. But, like, you can pick up all that from, like, the subtext. Even if it's not necessarily, like, canon or true, it's easy to, like, extrapolate that stuff. It's the scene is, like, open enough.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you could read into it.
And, like, earlier in the series, it's like, this is another thing where, like, they were obviously thinking about this, because, like, even in, like, the third or something episode, when Steven turns into, like, a cat, his cat fingers, and his dad's like, I really don't like shape-shifting.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, come to think of it. Huh.
Yeah.
I wonder what they're... now I want to know what happened specifically to make him not like shapeshifting. Because
Pearl sort of implies that, like, she did the same thing before, and that's why they
like
stopped hanging out.
shapeshifted into Rose.
Yeah, like, that's why Amethyst and Greg stopped hanging out the first time.
Yeah. And I love that Amethyst is that type who takes things too far. Yeah. And that's sort of her problem. Again, it's like all of it is stuff that is like just played just on that level where like I know that guy kind of thing.
It's really
like,
it's just right. Like everyone has been in a situation where you've like gone too far and felt bad about it.
Yeah, I mean that would definitely be me.
She's like helping him out and she's already got the thing cleaned out and she's like, yeah, I felt bad. And like she doesn't apologize, but like the apology is sort of like implicated like in real life.
My absolute favorite Amethyst moment, the one that like concrete sold me on her character, because I already got the impression that like she's way more likable and fun loving than like my first impression, but the moment that I truly got it was I don't remember what episode it was from, but Amethyst and Steven had done something that and they like really fucked up, and Pearl's like, this is all your fault, and she's like, yeah, pretty much, you know, like she does it like several times in the episode where like just the level of self-awareness that she is a fuck up.
Yeah. That
she is this. She knows she's a gross, weird. She's not like defensive about it, you know? Like, she gets mad in that Tiger Mask episode because of the. I keep calling it Tiger Mask, but that's like a Japanese. Like, that's like an anime wrestler. I don't remember what she was actually called. Maybe it was Tiger Fist or something.
Tiger Millionaire.
Oh, that was him. Right. He was. She
was something.
Ah, fuck. She was a puma.
Yeah.
Some kind of puma.
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
Which is actually a really cool wrestling combo team.
There's actually a real wrestler called Prince Puma. He's in Lucha Underground, and he's awesome.
Pumas are cool. That's her backstory. Yeah, but anyways, what I was getting at is that episode, it's not that she's not like defensive about who she is necessarily. It's that she was like legit kind of gets prosecuted for it, you know, like
yeah.
It's not like she's denying that she's kind of dumb and that she fucks up a lot. She owns that aspect of herself. The reason she's mad at Pearl is that she just can't get a break. You know, it was like that. It was sort of a breaking point. It was not like that's how they just are all the time. You know, I think she's usually really willing to admit her faults.
I also think it's pretty clever, like how they set up Garnet's personality, because like it sort of leads you to believe like that she's the least flawed of the three of them. Like she's very serene and calm about everything and stoic.
Flawed.
Yeah, but then when you realize she's two people and you meet Ruby, you realize that Ruby is basically a psycho.
Right.
And the only thing that balances it out is that Sapphire is like super serene, so you get this.
Oh man, it made so much sense. Where just seeing that she had like literally the calm one and the fiery one, and then just like all of her stuff fits in with that. But the moment, this is by the way my favorite line in the whole fucking show. I think I told you guys this before. Steven's talking about each of them. He was like saying how they're like his family or whatever, and that each of them has something good about them. And he's like, you're funny, you're smart. And then he says to Garnet, and mysterious. And Garnet smiles and says, ha, mysterious. And like, immediately I got everything about her character, because she's not mysterious to herself. She doesn't see herself that way. You know, like, even though she does keep secrets from Steven, like, there is no hidden depth to Garnet the way there looks like there is, you know, because she's quiet, people think, oh, she's hiding something, but she's not. She's really just acting sort of impulsively, you know. She's always the one who turns to Steven for answers, you know. She's willing to let him set the rules and stuff like that, and sort of embrace. How should I put this? She's more embracing of chaos and like going with the flow, you know?
Yeah.
And she doesn't, even though she has the future sight and everything, she doesn't always know what's going to happen. And she's not like Pearl, where everything needs to be carefully planned. And I think it's because like Pearl and Amethyst like defer to her that she seems like she knows what she's doing, but really she's just good at making confident decisions. She's a good leader, you know?
Yeah.
She's not a...
The thing about her being quiet is actually, because I was a very quiet kid, I can relate to all that. That's sort of like, I don't see myself as mysterious, but people have, like, in my school days, have no idea what I'm like and what I do, and they don't know how to approach me. Yeah. So it's sort of like, I'm a normal guy. Why do you
Yeah, I know exactly how you feel, because people said the same thing to me all the time in high school.
And I like how that's like not even an issue for Steven. Like, he loves all of them totally equally, because like you'd assume like, oh, he's a kid, he wants to hang out with Amethyst, and like Garnet doesn't seem like she wants to goof off. But in that one episode where he hangs out with Garnet, he's like super gung ho about it. Like, fuck yeah, I want to hang out with Garnet. I love Garnet.
Yeah, and Pearl too.
Yeah,
he's super gung ho about her. Yeah, that's a good fucking point.
That sort of sells you on Steven as a character. Like, he really loves all of his caretakers.
And I love that because Steven is the cipher through which we view this show. If we want to think that these three are cool, Steven thinking they're cool goes a long way towards that. You know, we're like, yeah, I totally want to hang out with Pearl. And they could so easily have made it like, oh, she's boring and she always bosses me around. No, he thinks she's awesome because she's smart, because of like the skills she has, you know. It's not like Steven doesn't think that Pearl is cool for her exceptions to when she's being uptight. He thinks she's cool for those elements, like that she is able to like be a teacher and be this and that. He has no cynicism about anyone. He just loves everyone.
He's the most lovable and loving person.
That's right.
Probably because like
and he has to be, because he would be so fucking obnoxious if he was anything else.
Yeah.
Because like half the episodes are about Steven fucked something up, and it's always his fault. But you can't be mad at him because he's such a good kid, and you know, and he drives everything, and you want to see him. You want to see his power come out. You want to see him succeed and grow. And shit, what was I fucking saying? I lost my train. Oh yeah, the latest episode when the teenagers are like, "You make a good counterpoint to our cynical view of the world." Yeah,
the much needed counterpoint to our cynical worldview. You have to come.
Yes,
I love that.
That was fucking fantastic.
I love like how the whole show has this tone to it, like, everything is sort of like played completely straight. Like, the show's sort of grounded in reality, but there's like magic and stuff and all that. But like the people in the town are like, well, yeah, those people who live in that temple are fucking magic. They're from outer space. You know, it just happens. Yeah, you know? Like everyone's really totally cool with it. No one.
I mean, I think the character who like goes the farthest to grounding the show, like especially right from like episode 2, is the blonde girl at the donut shop.
Oh, Sadie.
Yeah, Sadie. Because she's like Sadie. She is as perfectly normal as you could be. Like she is exactly like girls I've like worked with, you know? Not like, I'm not talking about like some weird artsy girl who I'd know or hang out with. Like, she is the most perfectly average human being that you could picture. And like her reactions to everything make complete sense. It's just, that's exactly what anyone would say in that situation. And she just like single-handedly pulls the entire show down to earth that way.
I love the part in the new episode where Steven starts talking about his problems, and he's like, yeah, it turns out the gems are from space, and they're rebels, and the other gems want to kill us, and I'm my own mom, and everyone kind of blames me for my mom's death, and the other guys are just like, huh, that's heavy.
Yeah, she turns off the radio because it's so heavy.
Like, they're not, like, horrified or anything, but they're like, oh, man, this kid, he's been through hard times.
Like, that could have just been, like, a joke, you know, but, like, the teenagers really care about him now. Because they, like, stand up for him at the end of the episode. Like, they, you know, another show that did teenagers similarly but worse was Gravity Falls, where in that show then there's like an asshole teenager, sort of like Lars, but unlike Lars, he doesn't really fit in with the other teenagers.
What's
who
his
are
name? Wendy's boyfriend,
Robbie.
Right?
Robbie, yeah. Robbie's kind of like Lars. Kind of he's an asshole, but the story knows it, so they give him a lot of shit. Which in both cases, I find it funny to watch. Like both Lars and Robbie, even though they're total shitbags. Like the fact that the show like gives them so much shit makes it entertaining.
Yeah.
But like in both cases, they have a group of friends who are just kind of like space case teenagers, right? Who just don't pay attention to anything around them. They're just kind of like in their own world. But in Gravity Falls, they don't like notice Mabel and Dipper at all. Like, they're so space case that those two don't matter. But these teenagers, like, they do actually care about Steven. He's actually their friend. They go out of their way to go pick him up. And, like, he's a part of their group now, you know?
I mean, yeah, but they did know about him smashing up the giant spaceship, and it's kind of hard to ignore that.
Well, I mean, even before that, like because I got the sense that when they hung out with him the first time, and they were all doing just like all the random shit, and he was like earning their respect, whereas Lars was like they didn't care about him because he was being a dick, you know. And they all keep praising Steven. They're not just like. It's like I've seen this before, where like all the teenagers think the kid's super cool because he's a kid and he does cool stuff, but I got the impression that like he really did leave an impression on them.
It's sort of like how like when you're like a senior in high school and like you hate everyone, but there's that like one freshman who's like actually like as cool as the seniors, and like you see him in the hall. You don't have any classes together, but like, hey, it's that kid. He's cool, and then that's all you're gonna say. You don't hang out with him, but it's just like
from my perspective, I've not only have I kind of been in a position like that where I was like a younger guy who's hung out with like older people and stuff, and also I have a lot of younger friends because I have 2 little brothers, you know, and one of them's 6 years younger than me, and you know, like my brother Shade is friends with all my friends to the point that my friends will hang out with Shade, you know, like. Shade is as much a member of my group of friends as anyone else, and it's like we always have those moments where we just kind of remember that he's 6 years younger, and it's like really weird, you know? Because even when he was like 10, he was hanging out with me and my friends, you know, picking up on our kind of humor, playing our kind of video games, stuff like that, you know? My best friend, Donson, will come over just to hang out with Shade and talk about Dark Souls, you know? And Shade's comparatively a little kid. I mean, he's turning 18 this year, but you know, over time he has been that kid, and I think that's kind of where Steven is with this group. Like, he's obviously younger, he probably shouldn't be hanging out with these guys, but he picks up so quickly, and he's so cool and smart, and like he wins them over, you know? They want to be friends with him because he's cool, and I love that. And I love his relationship with Connie, how she's just like instantly thinks he's the coolest guy ever, you know? Like, her insecurities are about the fact that she's not as cool as him.
That's another thing, like how the show, like how I was saying, the show like plays everything straight and doesn't like fall prey to like goofy cartoon bullshit.
Right.
Like, it's sort of like in one of the more recent episodes where like he accidentally makes that clone of Connie, and she
attacks it.
Yeah, and she's like, well, the clone is like, go on, tell her the truth. Tell her how much you like her. And it's like, are we really doing this? But then, like, the episode ends, and it's not really mentioned. Like, duh, of course he likes her. Who gives a shit? And, like, they know that, and it's fine.
I think probably Connie is at least somewhat aware that he likes her.
Yeah, like, it's not like it's not treated like a big, stupid deal like it would be in, like, other cartoons.
Yeah.
Like, another one is, like, in the Fusion episode where they combine, you would be expecting, like, any cartoon to have some, like, weird scene where it's like, ooh, I have boobs now, and I'm gonna play with my pussy. And
no matter how young these shows, because I've seen this in every cartoon, no matter how young the show is aimed, like Johnny Test, right? This show's made for fucking 5-year-olds. Yeah. Johnny gets turned into a girl, and the first thing he does is look down his shirt, and it makes like a whip, you know, noise. Yeah. Like that's always what happens. You know, there's always some kind of joke about the character crosses their legs, embarrassed. You know. Yeah. There is no embarrassment at all about them combining.
Yeah, and it makes
there's
sense.
Like one, like maybe a line here or there about like, oh, this is weird, like right when they fuse. But it's just weird. There's no reason it's weird.
If this was like a real life situation, and I fused with like some girl I know, I don't think I would be spending all day fapping and looking at my own boobs.
Right.
I think I would she would be in there as well.
I would. Yeah, I would be running around the beach going like, "Yeah, I'm 2 people. Woo!"
That episode was like, that was definitely the most like high level sci-fi writing in the show.
And I love how the episode played out too. Like, how like there wasn't really a conflict. Like they just had fun for a day, and then they went to that dance and they felt uncomfortable, and they separated.
Really esoteric.
Yeah,
is how I felt about that episode. Just like. It was so out there, but it was clear to me that what they were trying to convey is that when 2 people fuse, they are one and yet they are 2, well, you know, and like they communicated that. Like what's funny about it is the best way to communicate that is to show that you can't communicate that.
Yeah.
Like we can't understand that feeling, and therefore all of the dialogue of, what was it called? Stevani? All of the Stevani dialogue is, like, really out there. And all of it's like, what are they saying? What are they describing? And then you think about it and you're like, I guess I don't know. I guess I've never been fused with someone before. And like, so I guess I don't get it.
It really fits with what Garnet said at the beginning, because like Garnet is like, you're an experience, Steven. You're not a person, you're an experience. And the episode plays out like an experience. It's not It's not a story. It's just a thing that happens. Like, they're one person and then they split up again and then it just ends. And it's like, yeah, that was an experience.
Yeah. And like, definitely there was some I don't know if the symbolism is the word, that it's like this creepy guy trying to like hook up with them.
Yeah.
And they're just like really uncomfortable with it. And that was like it. It was just that they were really uncomfortable with this creepy guy flirting with them. I
think it's like, it's part of like a trend that I think was sort of started with Adventure Time, of kids shows treating the audience, treating kids like they're fucking intelligent.
Right. But like with Adventure Time, it does a lot of stuff like that. But Adventure Time has a lot more of like a almost malicious streak to me, where Adventure Time will go out of its way to fuck with you.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it wants to do. It wants to fuck with your head. When, like, there's the episode where, you know, Finn goes into the other world and he lives out this entire life, and it's, like, this super depressing ending. But none of that was relevant to, like, the plot of the show. You know? It was just something there to make you feel weird.
Well, I like how, like, Adventure Time, it can be really random, but it can also be really subtle.
Right.
Like, there's episodes where, like, Finn is, like, going through relationship drama, and, like, the episode isn't focused on Finn, and it's, like, someone else. And, like, someone will be like, hey, Finn, do you want to go over here? And, like, Finn will just say, like, nah, I feel kind of messed up. I'm just going to sit and think. And that'll be, like, Finn's whole part in the episode.
Yeah. I mean, I like stuff like that in Adventure Time, but I always get the sense that Adventure Time is manipulative in the sense of trying to... Not that it's trying to make you... Sometimes it feels like it's trying to make you feel bad. Like, it just wants to fuck with you.
There's definitely episodes that work better than others in terms of, like, the feels.
Sometimes, and even from, like, early into the show, like, one of the first episodes, there's a part where, like, there's, like, these murderous leprechaun things, and they kind of get, like, horribly killed, and it's brushed aside. And the show does a lot of stuff like that, where, like, it'll imply some, like, really horrific thing just happened, and then brush it off.
Yeah.
And those moments are, like, really shocking and, like, jarring.
Well, like, I guess a good example is, like, there was that really great episode of Adventure Time, like, 2 years ago in, like, 2012, where, like, you learn about Marceline and the Ice King being friends, like, 1,000 years ago.
Right.
And that was, like, this, like, it was kind of, like, treated like this big milestone for the series. Like, everybody fucking loves that episode because it was so, like, unexpectedly feelsy. And then, like, a year later, they did, like, a sequel to it where it showed, like, more of their friendship in the past. And that episode, to me, was like, you know, I get it. You're not going to make me feel these feels a second time by, like, shoving it down my throat. But then, more recently, there was another episode where they referenced it in a more subtle way, and it worked again. Because, like, it was one where, like, the Ice King turned back into Simon for, like, one day or whatever. And he just called Marceline, and he's like, hey, Marceline, I'm fucking normal again. And then it just cuts to Marceline, like, by the phone, like, she's on the floor, passed out. And, like, that's just a joke. And it's, like, it's acknowledging it, but in a more subtle, like, humorous way, and that makes it better.
I think Steven Universe is amazingly consistent. No episode felt like, oh, this is a different writer. It felt like it could have been the same writer the whole show, and I wouldn't really question it, you know? There's maybe a couple episodes where the writing felt a little bit more dumbed down or a little bit more esoteric, but overall it felt really consistent. And I feel like Steven, because what I was afraid of was that it would be manipulative like that, like Adventure Time, where, like, that's what I don't like about that show, and a lot of these cartoons that are in this vein that are trying to be, like, these deep, interesting cartoons for kids. Steven Universe is amazingly unpretentious because it always shows everything just exactly how it is. Like you said, it's straightforward. It's just like, it presents things so matter-of-factly, and there's never any, like, winking at the audience, you know? It's always just, here's the story as it is. And, fuck.
There's a lot of moments where, like, something is about to happen, or if you imagine that something's about to happen, like when the teenagers first go to Steven in the most recent episode, and they say, you want to come hang with us, do stuff? And Steven's like, oh no, I got work to do. And you assume it's going to be an episode about Steven, like, shirking his duties and getting in trouble.
Right.
But it's like, no, he says, no, I got work to do, and then the teenagers say, okay, then.
Right, and
then that's just it. That, you know.
But then it
doesn't necessarily add to, like, the plot, but it would be what would happen.
Yeah.
It's just they add loads of moments in that in the show.
Some of the moments that I don't think I'd call them my favorites, but they were the ones that made me laugh the most, is just when the show acknowledges how fucking awkward and, like, autistic Steven acts sometimes. Like, where he'd start, like, cracking jokes and everyone would just be like, you know?
Yeah, where he does the cat puns, but he does, like, 8 of them. And they just, like, walk away from him.
Like, that one was a lot more directly, like, meant to be a joke. But there's some certain scenes where, like, he says something to the Gems, because this fucking reminded me of my brother Shade again. Because when Shade was a kid, he would just talk endlessly about shit, even if you, like, visibly didn't care. Because he's a kid, he doesn't really get that you don't care, right? So he'll just, like, go on and on and on about, like, some game he's playing, and you're just like, yeah, cool, just shut up, please, you know? And there are moments like that where Steven's, like, excited about something, and the Gems are just like, what? You know, like, they're kind of, like, weirded out a little bit, and just, why are you telling me this? It's kind of creepy, or something like that, you know? The stuff that they want nothing to do with, and the show, like, fully acknowledges how just, like, weird and awkward it is for them to, like, have to communicate with this kid, you know, this awkward little weirdo, but then he does something, you know, to make up for it by being a cool guy. It's just like there's never a moment where you like really forget who Steven is. It always reminds you that he is a kid. He is a dumb, awkward little kid.
Yeah.
Speaking of being a kid, the moment when he became more of an adult, I think we mentioned. I
think
this
we all
before.
know this. Yeah.
Yeah, the bit where it was the impossible to lose challenge that they made for him.
A fantastic little piece of writing there.
And he was the one who was comforting them in the end. It was just.
It's sort of like it sets it up like again, like with any other cartoon, you'd be like, oh, he's going to confront them about lying to him and not believing in him. But then it like goes the opposite way, and it's like he ends up having to be the one to tell a little white lie to them and re-encourage them.
And he's actually, this is a direct parallel to the Emotional Pearl episode where Steven's totally becoming his mom, and the whole, I think, to me, what the plot of this show is, where this is going, is that Steven will learn about duty and responsibility and caring for others in the sense of, like, you know, to protect others is a complex thing to do. And, like, Pearl freaked out in that episode because she couldn't, like, accept the idea that she wasn't told everything, that Rose was still trying to protect her. And, like, you know, she wanted to think that they were on the level. Like, we were above everyone else. We were protecting everyone. I didn't need protection. I was special. But then it turns out Rose was protecting her. Rose was keeping secrets from her. And Steven keeps secrets from them now. And he's learning this as, like, a lesson in adulthood. Like, sometimes you need to keep things to yourself, you know? And, like, first, like, he handles it well there, where he's just like, I'm just gonna let them have this, you know, and I will privately know that I have grown up, you know, that I don't, that I am worthy.
Sort of the first step of him, like, becoming an adult.
Right, but then we also see when he fails to deal with it, when he tries to tell Connie that he can't hang out with her anymore after all the shit happens, because, like, he sort of realizes that when people know the truth, it could hurt them, but then it's like, yeah, but I also need people, you know, I can't do this alone. And people want to help. People want to care about other people, you know?
All the conflicts seem very naturally flowing from the situations.
Yeah. I think, to soapbox a little bit here, I think that a lot of young people get it in their heads that people only help one another as like a selfish, self-serving thing. Like, it's sort of like if I donated to charity, right? And people are like, oh, you're just doing that to fulfill your ego. And it's like, yeah, but that's what loving other people is. It's ego, you know, to love someone is all about loving yourself and wanting your life and your world to be better. So you help others, and it's all like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we want to care about each other. We want to help each other. That's just like basic human nature. And it's not, I guess what I'm saying is that self-sacrifice is also for you. It's not...
But it's not like totally for you, because it's still sacrifice.
It's an odd combination. It's sort of like when my mom was in the hospital because she had cancer like a few years back, then my dad, like, his boss had been through like all this crazy cancer, and he had said, like, people want to help you, so accept all the kindness you get, right? Because it makes them feel better. It makes them feel like they've done something, they've contributed, they're a part of your life, you know, like, it's sort of like when you beat the cancer, everyone will feel gratified because they were all a part of it, you know? So when my mom was in the hospital, which, this is crazy. My mom, like, by all logical rights, would have died because she had stage 4 of, like, some crazy rare-ass cancer that no one gets. It was like if she had come into the hospital a day later, she would have been dead, kind of thing. And she had, just for like months she was in the hospital, we constantly had people coming in because we made it super public. We told, like, my dad and my mom and dad both have lots of Facebook friends. They would post every day about, like, everything about her condition, just saying all this stuff. Everyone knew the intimate details of everything, right? But the funny thing was, none of us told my mom that we were worried. No one ever said we were worried about her. We would come in there and we'd just be like, oh yeah, you're going to make it, you're going to do great, it's awesome. Like, we acted like it was no big deal at all. And so she legitimately didn't know that anyone was super worried until much later. There was like a time where I was talking to my mom and, like, I was talking about how, like, I had taken up smoking while she was in the hospital because it was, like, so stressful to deal with that, like, and my dad was, like, smoking way more, and I was like, I'll start doing that too. So I started smoking more, and I just sit, like, have days where I'm just, like, crying and stuff like that. And Mom was like, what? No one told me that you guys were, like, upset. I just thought everyone thought I was going to make it. And I was like, yeah, of course we're going to act that way. We don't want you to think that we're all, like, fucking, you know, like, torn apart by this. But that's because, like, that's what you have to do. You have to, like, support each other and be there and, like, and make it out like, you know, I'm not that worried, even though you are worried, but you have to hide it, you know? And, like, that was, all of that is what I saw in the whole Connie and Steven situation, where it's like, she's like, yeah, I'm worried, but I want to be worried because that means that I'm a part of your life, you know?
By the way, that episode, when he sings the song and the ringtone on his phone becomes part of the music, it makes my dick rock hard. It's like the coolest thing ever.
All the music is the good. I've said that already.
Yeah. If we're on the subject of music, I've got to bring up this reference that I haven't seen anyone else mention it, because there's like a really extensive references guide on TV tropes. Because when I started watching the show, and immediately I'm getting all these fucking anime references. I got, like, Utena, like, a million Akira references. Jesse, you must have noticed all the Akira shit.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, the fucking cat monster
cat
thing.
Was, like, all Akira.
Yeah, and, like, there's, like, a scene where, I think it's when Onion had, like, the cape on. There's, like, an explosion, and he, like, puts his arms in front of his head, and his cape's billowing out, and it's, like, exactly like when Tetsuo gets shot with the cannon and stuff. There's, like, a lot of shit like that, but the reference that blew my mind the most, because it was so direct and that no one else seemed to have caught, is you remember the Dear Old Dad song, yeah?
The who?
Like, Dear Old Dad.
Oh, yeah.
Dun, 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 whatever he sings. And the chord progression is the same as the chord progression in a song called Bombs Away by the band Foxy Shazam. And I know this chord progression super well because my friend Jeff Burgess, who's a pony musician, had used it in one of his songs, like, directly ripping off this Foxy Shazam song, and, like, he had, like, told me that was what it was. And so, like, I'm super familiar with this chord progression from that, and the song comes on, and I'm like, oh, hey, it's the Bombs Away chord progression. And then, right after the song, Amethyst is holding a paper plane, and she yells, Bombs Away! Like, out of nowhere. Had nothing to do with anything. That's it. She just says that, and then they are not playing with the paper planes. She throws the plane, and that's, like, it. And I was like, oh my god. They acknowledged that this song is Bombs Away by Foxy Shazam. And that shit blew my goddamn fucking mind. I couldn't handle it. I was checked out for the rest of the episode. It's all I was thinking about. As soon as the episode was over, I ran to the computer to see if anyone else had marked it on the TV tropes, and they hadn't, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to update this later. So fucking excited, man. Foxy Shazam's been, like, one of my favorite bands for a really long time. And when that album came out that has that song on it, they did, like, a bunch of commercials for Cartoon Network. They had, like, there was an advertisement for some Cartoon Network live-action show, like one of those shitty fucking ones they did. And they had, like, a commercial for it where it was using this Foxy Shazam song to, like, cut to them performing the song in between cuts of the show and the commercial. It's just really cool. Like, weird relationship between Cartoon Network and Foxy Shazam. A band that, in spite of being amazing, has never managed to blow up, even when they were on, like, a major label, even when they were on Cartoon Network. And this was around the same time that Andrew WK was all over Cartoon Network. Yeah. That was fucking awesome, too. I'm on a tangent. You guys could say something about Steven Universe.
Yeah.
I like the fact that the gems are very easy to make OCs of.
Yes.
I made one.
I was going to bring that up. I think that's, like, the secret to having a popular cartoon or a popular, like, intellectual property.
Well, very, very popular cartoon.
If the character designs have some kind of gimmick that people can make OCs around, because everyone who watches My Little Pony wants to make a pony OC, naturally. You want to make a Gemsona, you want to make a Sonic character, you want to make a Super Saiyan of yourself.
I think it's mostly a Tumblr thing in that regard, because...
It could be, but...
Well, because Tumblr has, like, a really vibrant artist culture. You know, like, there's a lot of art Tumblrs out there, a lot of artists on Tumblr, and Tumblr's also very fandom-driven, where everything is like, I'm the biggest fan of this show in the fucking universe. Here's all... My entire blog is going to be me drawing pictures of this character from this show that I love. And all Tumblr art has that exact same art style that you know the second you see it. And, like, Steven Universe just happens to play into that super well. I don't know that it just happens to, because the show obviously acknowledges Tumblr. Because I think they show Tumblr in the show. Like, Steven's
the
on
guy's,
his
phone. What's his face name?
Yeah,
the guy's blog.
Keep Beach City Weird!
Yeah. It's clearly at least a WordPress or something.
Oh,
it looks
man.
like a Tumblr, though.
It's just a very clever gimmick. Like, anyone can look at it and figure out, oh, okay, they're all different colors and they're all based on rocks. I want to fucking make one. Let me look up gemstones and...
Yeah, figure out what body part I want my
I actually
gem
saw
on.
that there was, like... You know how you can check the Google search rankings of certain words?
Right.
And, like, gemstones has gone from, like, nothing to, like... It's just right at the end.
Yeah. Not surprised. Yeah, I gotta talk about Keep Beach City Weird. Because it's almost identical to a real magazine I was trying to write for, like, a couple years ago. Because I live in a city called Virginia Beach. And I had a magazine that I was trying to write called the Virginia Beach Hermit Society. And the concept was that it was... Half of it was, like, just random, like, irrelevant stories about me and my friends. Where, like, I had, like, a part called Interviews with Friends, where I just interviewed my best friends, like, apropos of nothing. Or, like, reviews of Virginia Beach City food, and it would just be, like, a story about me going to IHOP, you know, and getting, like, some random thing on the menu. So it's just, like, supposed to be just random stuff about the city, but then it was also going to have a fictional element where half of it was real stories and the other half was, like, weird supernatural stories that are, like, clearly not real. It wouldn't be, like, conspiracy like the way it is in the show. It's more like straight-up fictional stories that take place in Virginia Beach. But just the fact that he has a magazine called Keep Beach City Weird, and it's, like, almost the same fucking concept as my magazine with almost the same name... That shit blew my mind again, and I love that guy. It's this dumbass, fat basement nerd who writes about, like, characters like that would be so boring, but he's, like, so proactive. I love that. I love when they have a character like that who does something, you know?
One of the earlier episodes, it's that character. He's sitting in the donut shop or something.
Yeah.
And Steven walks in and he goes, it's a pizza shop, and he goes, give me a large pizza. I'm eating for 2. And he chimes in.
Are
the
you
background.
pregnant?
I lost
Fucking
it at
idiot.
that one.
Oh man.
I love how the humor is very dry like that. Like
yes.
nothing is like overly wacky or like cartoony. Like everything is very subdued. Like another one of my favorite lines is the one where he's sleeping and Lion is like jumping on his head, and he wakes up and Pearl is there, and he goes, "Pearl, what are you doing here?" And she goes, "Oh, sometimes I watch you sleep."
That's one of my favorite moments because of the fact that, again, with what's great about this show, anything anyone says you can take seriously.
Yeah.
Like that. It's not a throwaway joke about her watching him
even
sleep.
like a random, like a silly sort of creepy, jokey line like that is also like really indicative of her character.
Right. Yeah. Because you can take it seriously, because you know when she says it, you immediately are like, this is something she really does. And then you think about it, and it's like, yeah, that's exactly what she would do. Like, I get that.
Yeah.
I get why she would do that.
And then, like, I like how, like, later in the episode, she comes out with all the gems, and she's like, I don't know where Steven is. He says he doesn't want me watching him sleep anymore.
So one of you guys has to do it.
Like, they all know that she does it, and no one thinks it's weird.
Like, it's a necessity. Like, she needs someone to do it, you know? But I totally get it. I have watched my brothers sleep. I just walk into their room and just stare at them, so I get it.
What the fuck?
You guys don't do that? Am I weird?
Well,
I don't like sit there like for a long time.
I'm pretty sure if I did that to my sister, I'd go to jail.
Well, you would look at her with lustful eyes. Probably.
I haven't watched them sleep. I have like opened their door when they're sleeping and to check to see if they're awake, and they aren't. So I just look at them for a second. But like not because prolonged.
Shades. I'll walk into his room when he's asleep, and I'll just sit on him. Like, he won't wake up. I'll just go in there, and I'll just sit, like... Or I'll just lay on the bed next to him and stare at him for a little bit, and then get up and leave.
This is the weirdest shit I've ever heard.
I don't get why it's so weird.
I don't know. I just don't feel like disturbing them. It's rude.
I want to disturb them as much as possible.
I love my brothers.
You know what's
I
weird?
would never do that.
The other day, like, I put my laptop, like, on the floor, and I fell asleep on my couch. And then in the morning, I woke up, and I turned on my laptop, and I looked at the webcam, and, like, it had frozen last night, and I was, like, looking through time at myself sleeping. And I was just like, my God, what is happening? It felt like I was
defiling that's happened.
myself.
That's actually happened to me before in a Skype call, so I know what you're talking about. Fuck. Yeah, I don't know. You guys got me stuck on the topic of just thinking about how much, like, I'm, like, compulsed to torment my brothers somehow.
I like Lapis.
Oh, man, Lapis
is
Lazuli. Cool. She is so fucking adorable. Because, like, immediately when I saw her, I was like, oh my God, she's the 80s in anime. Because, like, her hair is always, like, floating, and it sort of, like, moves a lot. And I don't know if either of you have watched a lot of, like, old Hayao Miyazaki and Ghibli movies, but, like, the way that Ghibli does hair, it's always floating. Like, the hair never stays still. It's always, like hair communicates emotions for characters. So, like, if you ever watch, like, Kiki's Delivery Service, for instance, like, Kiki will get scared, and then her hair will, like, jump up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and, like...
Sort of like a cat.
Yeah, and there's a scene actually when Lapis Lazuli reaches back to take Jasper's hand, like, to fuse. It's like a shot-for-shot recreation of Castle in the Sky, which is like one of the oldest Ghibli movies. So, like, not only did she look like a Ghibli character, but then, like, there's a shout out to a Ghibli movie. So, like, it's funny with this show. Like, when I look at Pearl, all I see is Utena references, and when I look at Lapis, all I see is Ghibli references, and I'm totally okay with that. It makes them all the better to me.
You can sort of tell, like, it seems like, whereas the main gems were designed to, you know, their appearances reflect their personalities, you can tell that Lapis was sort of designed to be, like, perfectly beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's probably because you have less time to get to know her, so you have to be able to make the connection quick. And the easiest way to do that is, like, yeah, she's pretty. But
she's pretty in such a, like, old school way, where, like, she looks... Because I've had these moments before where I'm watching something from, like, the late 80s or early 90s in anime, and it'll show, like a beautiful girl who will look like that, And to me, it's just, like, the most striking thing ever. Like, how do I put it? I guess modern anime doesn't cut it anymore with the beauty feeling, you know? Like, because Lapis is... If I asked you to describe a pretty girl, you probably wouldn't describe Lapis, but when you see her, you immediately understand that that's what she is.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, she doesn't look conventional. She's sort of an odd design that you wouldn't really expect to see in a show in like, modern times. And yet, when you see her, you immediately get it, that she's like,
I don't know,
wow,
like,
she's
when I
beautiful.
picture, like, when I try to picture, like, a perfectly beautiful girl, I usually picture someone in, like, a dress barefoot by the water.
Which is a very Ghibli image to have. She also has to be blue, otherwise, you know, wouldn't touch it. Because blue's where it's at. How do you like fucking the Giant Woman song? So perfect.
That was beautiful.
All I wanna do is see you turn into a giant woman.
That's such a relatable feeling.
Dude, not only was that a relatable feeling, but there's a line in the song where he actually says, all I want to do, or he says, like, I wish I could turn into a giant woman. He says that. And I was like, yes! Yes, I'm with you, Steven! Who would not want to turn into a giant woman?
I think that's got to be a feeling that every man has at some point.
Oh, definitely. But then,
just
the best part is...
be a pretty girl.
But not just a pretty girl, a giant woman. But the best part is, he gets to turn into sort of a giant woman later. He fuses with Connie and they become at least a bigger woman than what she was pretty fucking tall compared to everyone.
Yeah, well, I think it combines the mass or some shit. I don't fucking know.
He turned into a giant woman.
Because Ruby
he
and
got
Sapphire
his
are both very small.
Yes. Yes, they are. I wonder, like, I was curious about that. Like, at first I'm thinking, oh, she's like two kids put together. But then I'm like, wait a minute. They're all ancient. And then someone says, like, because Jasper says it's combining as a way of weak gems turning into a stronger gem. So this means that there is gem power levels, and that, like, their body type reflects their power level, maybe? Like, because Jasper's huge.
Yeah.
And, okay, let's also talk about this. Jasper is totally Vegeta. Please tell me. Okay, first of all, she talks like Vegeta.
I don't know. She seems more Nappa to me.
Yeah, well, oh yeah, that's right. Nappa does come before Vegeta, right? Like, by himself?
No, Raditz comes before.
No,
Nappa and
Raditz
Vegeta come together.
She could be Raditz or Vegeta. Like, she is a Dragon Ball Z character.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, this show pays tons of homage to Dragon Ball Z, especially in the fight scenes. They all look like Dragon Ball Z fights, you know. Characters throw each other out of the screen, teleport jump, punch down giant crater, you know, it's... And there's direct DBZ references. There's like a scene where she's on a Nimbus cloud. There's Amethyst was on one. There's like a lot of like little subtle direct references to DBZ. And then she shows up and it's just like Raditz showing up. Yeah, I guess it's Raditz really. And she has that voice, like the ridiculously gravelly, hard-ass voice, you know?
Yeah.
It was funny because, like, at first I was like, oh, God, really? She sounds like that? But then I thought about Dragon Ball Z and I was like, yeah, that's exactly how she should sound. Like, she should sound like this corny, ridiculous, crazy person from outer space who just wants to fucking kill everyone on Earth, you know? She's this arrogant... fucking I'm the proud race of gems and you all just weak gems who disgrace our race. She's fucking Raditz.
Yeah.
And
I love how, like, I think, like, the fight scenes are, like, super well directed too. Like, I like how, like, when Jasper first comes, like, the first thing she does is, like, shock the shit out of Garnet with her little electric wand. But then later when they fight, the first thing Garnet does is destroy her stupid little electric wand so she can't get her.
I didn't notice that, but that's a great point. Yeah, the fights are always like they're drawn in that like intense DBZ way, but they're always brief, so it's never like exhausting, you know.
Yeah, it never gets too long.
Yeah, I hate combat scenes in most American cartoons because they're always really well animated and like really kinetic and stuff like that, but they're just like there's no stakes because you know that the main characters aren't going to die. So when the battle keeps going, it's just like, oh, why does it have to do this? Like every episode of Ben 10. I don't know if you've ever watched Ben 10, but like every episode has some big giant fight at the end, and it's like, dude, he's just going to beat the bad guy. Like, who fucking cares, you know?
There are a few moments like that in Avatar: Legend of Korra, but not too many. But like some fights just keep going and going.
I feel like every fight should be different when they happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there should never be just like a normal two guys fighting, unless that's the gimmick of the fight or something.
Definitely, like my favorite episode of all of Steven Universe is when Pearl fights herself. Or the image, the mirror image of herself.
That was brutal when she got stabbed.
Yeah. Because that's
wow.
That's the episode that is the giant Utna reference that I keep bringing up, where like the entire fight that they have like is shot for shot recreations of scenes from Revolutionary Girl Utna. Even the backstabbing is like a direct reference to it. And then the fact that she like dies and has to have like a refractory period, sort of like she has to come back, like, but it takes a while of like rebuilding. It's like she's in a, oh man, what's another show that did that? I want to say something. I can't think of anything, but just like the fact that she has to like be gone for 2 weeks and then like come back and she's wearing a different outfit. That's awesome.
Superman did that, actually.
Like died and came back 2 weeks later.
Yeah, he got killed by
Doomsday,
and then his body entered a cocoon state. Then he came out and he was Black Superman, and he was wearing like a black shirt. And actually, he was edgy in 90s.
I don't know if his outfit changed, but I know like it's sort of similar to Wolverine in Civil War, right? Where he was like reduced to nothing but his rib cage or some shit.
Which I hate, by the way, because it's stupid and makes no sense and ruins Wolverine.
Right, he can grow back from his skeleton somehow. It is pretty fucking stupid.
I hate how they fucking comics suck. They ruin everything. Because like in the old comics and in the animated series, it would be like Wolverine gets like gutted by Sabretooth, and he's like, I have a healing factor, so it should only take about a week to heal. And like, yes, that makes sense. But now it's like he can heal from a fucking bone instantly.
Right. Even though there's no brain or tissue or like, and how do you kill him then? Like, is he just indestructible? Like, do you have to throw him into the fucking sun?
Well, he actually is dead now. He got melted in adamantium.
Uh-huh.
I hate comics. I don't even fucking know. Peridot's cool. I like her design. I like the.
What's her?
I was gonna say something about Garnet. I don't know why I thought of this just now, but I think after she like came back after being like separated, she became less black. She's now more of a
she does
like
have a new
pinkish
outfit.
Purple. Yeah, I think I don't know why.
Shade mentioned that, but I didn't notice it somehow.
It does seem a little different.
He was
I tried googling it, but I can't find a comparison, which is strange.
Oh, there's one on her Steven Universe wiki page. It shows both of her costumes.
Oh yeah.
Somehow I didn't even notice. Man, yeah, Peridot.
I like how like she's got the thing like her fingers come apart and like turn into a little screen.
Yeah,
I'm looking it up right now.
I like all that green technology with the little balls that go. Yeah.
I know, like, I've heard her voice before, and it was driving me insane, and I don't know where. Did any of you recognize her voice?
I don't fucking know.
Nah.
I'm gonna look it up. I need to know. Shelby Rabara.
I felt like apart from Garnet, I felt like all of them was somebody I knew, but I didn't.
I definitely, the one teenager with the fucking weird-ass deep voice, I'm pretty sure is Brian Posehn.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely.
Which is fucking amazing. I'm looking her up.
Which is like, he's one of those voice actors where like, he only does his one normal voice, and yet any character that he voices is perfect for his voice and makes the character better just for having it.
This girl who plays Peridot, very attractive, if I may say so. Just she's mostly like a regular actress, it seems like not really a voice actress. But yeah. Anyways, don't recognize her voice from anywhere, so totally irrelevant.
What a cool ass show.
Yeah,
and I like, as one thing I really like is the backgrounds and the setting.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about that, oddly.
The sunsets and all the like lighting is just really nice. Yeah. I want to live there.
The color design
is
fucking incredible. The sound design's incredible. The music's incredible.
It's a 10 out of 10.
The only thing that falters considerably is the animation quality. There are some episodes that look like fucking garbage.
I never noticed stuff like that.
Episode 3 was like... It's funny because the first 2 episodes looked like really incredible, and Tommy Oliver had said that like the animation suddenly picks up in episode 20. And I don't think he was right, because the first 2 episodes looked as good as anything that happened in the show. But then episode 3, just like... all the faces were just like off the whole time, and everything was like really weird and awkward. And there's a lot of episodes like that, and it's usually like consistently the whole episode will look that way, with like 1 or 2 exceptions. So like there's just certain episodes where the
I never really got bothered about the faces looking slightly weird, because they did it in enough episodes that it was sort of, it didn't feel out of place.
Sometimes it felt like it was on purpose that the faces looked weird, and then other times it was just like, oh, I think probably episode 3 is like the outright worst looking in the whole show. Like, I don't know why. It reminded me of Gurren Lagann episode 4. Like, just that the art being like so awkward that it was like, oh god, what am I looking at? I'm
gonna have to watch that again because I can't remember it being bad at all.
That's just how I felt about it. I mean, it could be that others wouldn't feel the same way, but the background art's always consistently great. Yeah. The colors just, it's
I love
so
that
soothing
shot
to look at.
Yeah, that shot at the beginning, whenever they have like the stone hand with the washing line, and like every time the lighting is different, it's still like, I would love to run around on that beach.
Yeah, it's
right there.
I would love a video game set in that world.
Yeah.
I guess the closest thing we have either of you seen Grow Home?
Yeah,
that game looks a lot like it, like in terms of the colors.
Yeah, it is a world that you'd want to walk around in. Like you see The Simpsons. It's like, I want to walk around Springfield, and you didn't get to do it till like 17 years later when they made that game.
The Simpsons always looked like hell to me. Just like,
have you ever played Simpsons Hit and Run?
I have.
Oh yeah,
actually.
I have. I love that game.
I love that game.
It's GDA, but it's for kids, I guess.
I've been saying forever there needs to be like an actual 3D free roaming Adventure Time game or a My Little Pony game, because like I don't understand, like those are worlds that like you want to explore. It would be so easy to make a game. You wouldn't even have to do anything. Just like, hey, you're Finn, go walk around and do shit.
Right.
Like, why haven't they done that yet? Every Adventure Time game is like this stupid pseudo retro pixel art top down bullshit on the DS. And I hate it.
Yeah. They're all dungeon crawlers. They're all like
it's so fucking
linear.
like 2009. It's old hat. I'm sick of retro. I want to explore, like Skyrim. Damn it.
Yeah, but
there might actually be
mechanics than Skyrim.
There might actually be an Adventure Time like skin pack for Skyrim.
That's very possible.
And I want
there is a skin pack that replaces all the dragons with Macho Man Randy Savage. Have you seen that one, Jesse?
Yeah.
It's fucking amazing. What did you want?
I want a fucking a 3D. I want a My Little Pony game like Legends of Equestria, but that actually works.
Right.
And that's actually a game developed by real humans who are competent.
Yeah. I mean, fuck, it'd be so easy to make a free-to-play MMO game like that. Like, just fucking...
It doesn't even have to be an MMO.
Yeah, but they could totally have a free-to-play MMO, like, even in a browser for My Little Pony that looks just like Legend of Equestria, and have, like, little microtransactions that no one
Pony
pays for,
like, It blows my mind that it's been, like, since 2010, and it's been this phenomenon, and they haven't made a fucking video game for it yet, like an official one.
Right.
Like they've made official things, but I think the toy and, like, entertainment stuff.
Funnily enough, there was
part of the company.
There was a video.
Like, very different.
There was a browser game that was official. Did you ever play Adventure Ponies? The like 8-bit super. It wasn't even 8-bit. It was like Commodore 64.
I tried to play that like the other day, and it turns out now the UK's blocked from playing it. So
that's odd.
It fucks.
It's like it wouldn't be hard. Like they've already made the perfect My Little Pony game, and it's called Spyro the Dragon.
Right.
Just make that and turn them into ponies, and you have the best game ever.
But you run around the Ponyville.
Like, make it like Donkey Kong 64, where I can choose one of the 6, and they can each get to different areas with their own abilities and stuff.
To change it back to Steven Universe, what would be the ideal Steven Universe game?
No, I'm
It would be
talking about
Okami,
food.
but Steven Universe.
Okami? Why Okami?
I don't know. It looks nice,
I
and
could
you can run
definitely
around in a
see-
big open world.
I could definitely see
but
like
with
a
Steven
Zelda
Universe
style
graphics.
Steven Universe, like an Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
I imagine more of a like a platformer where you play as each like all three of the characters, like L button switches between them, and they
that's
each
really
have
like the
their
best,
powers relevant to different
the best
stuff.
kind of game. Period. Just
'Cause,
a big open platformer where I can switch characters.
3D platformers need to come back
They
and
really
be
do.
the popular thing.
I think, and I hate using this as an example because it's not a good game. But did you guys ever play Darksiders?
No.
No.
Darksiders is like the idea for the best game ever that just is executed really badly because it's like if you took Zelda and combined it with God of War. That's it, really. It's just Zelda and God of War. Like, the combat is, like, 1-1 to God of War, and then it's got the adventuring aspect of Zelda. So it's sort of, like, part platformer, part adventure game, part combat game. And, like...
Now all I can think of is, like, Kratos just walking through Hyrule Field.
Yeah, that's basically...
chickens.
That's basically Darksiders. I mean, it's not nearly as open as Zelda, which is one of the problems with it. And, it's just not... It doesn't control that well. It's a shitty game, but it's like it's copying from like great games and combining elements of great games, just doing it poorly. But I'm picturing like a Steven Universe game where like you would use Garnet for like a lot of the platforming and stuff because she's got the giant hands, so she could like scale cliff sides and shit with her, like rock hands.
It'll be Sonic Adventure 3. There's Steven.
Yeah, except not shitty. And then you'd use like Pearl for
Steven
combat
Adventure.
and
Amethyst can turn into a cat.
And she could roll around like to get by faster. Like
I saw
go into her ball mode and
I read a
roll.
fan theory.
Like a Goron. She's basically a Goron.
I read a fan theory that Amethyst was Greg's cat.
That's
like,
weird.
When Steven lifts up the cat box and he says, "When did you even have a cat?"
Is that really where it comes from?
Fan theories are fucking weird, man.
Grasping at straws. I mean, I don't know.
Dude, anytime I read fan theories for any show, I'm just like, why? Like I understand why you had this idea, but why did you share this idea?
I don't know. Some of them are cool.
Some fan theories are okay, but like, there's a difference between a fan theory that is like, it's technically possible, or a fan theory that is like, that's probably what the author is going for.
Right.
Like, with a lot of Gravity Falls theories, it's built on a lot of like subtle hints that go throughout the whole thing.
I mean, there's a difference between...
So they actually end up becoming true.
There's a difference between like wild mass guessing and like this is us trying to logically piece together the show, like with Gravity Falls, it's supposed to be a mystery. You're supposed to do that. Like they leave you all these hints and stuff. They're like, ooh, figure it out. It's like, oh yeah, we gotta sleuth it up. Although even then, it's just like when you're watching a show, this is why I hate mystery stories, because like anything you come up with before the ending, unless you actually guess the ending, then it's all fucking irrelevant, because you have no idea what they're going to do. It could be anything, By the time the show's over, it could be fucking anything. Unless you happened to, like... Unless it was so good at giving clues that were really relevant, and the ending actually reflects what you came up with,
Well, there was a lot of people who... I don't know whether... Spoiler warning for Gravity Falls, I guess. There's a lot of people who, theorized that the person would come through the portal is actually like Stan's brother before it happened.
I have
using
no
clues.
idea
I don't
what
even
you're
know what you're
talking about because I've only seen
I've
seen 10 episodes.
Yeah, I've seen
spoiler
one
warning.
episode of
There's
Gravity
a
Falls.
brother and he's back.
Okay. I don't
There you
know.
go.
I don't know these things.
You could just cut that whole part out. That's just
I saw one episode of Gravity Falls and it was just like some thing about a pig. They were trying to get...
Oh, that's a good episode though. I like that one. Yeah.
Mr.
But I guess that's next on the list then of things that I should watch.
Yeah,
Gravity Falls definitely.
I would say like the first few episodes of Gravity Falls were like in terms of just comedy were some of the best like cartoon. Like when that show came out, I was really excited about it because it was super fucking funny. But to me, as it started to like transition away from focusing on the comedy and be more about like the central plot, that was where I lost interest. Like the opposite of Steven Universe, because Steven Universe was never about being funny. It's always had like this really relaxed tempo. Like, there's a lot of scenes that make me laugh in Steven Universe, but I never feel like there's any one-off jokes that are just like for the sake of a joke. It always feels like it's in the episode, you know, like the stuff that makes you laugh comes naturally out of the situations. Like Steven, the whole "Are you pregnant?" joke. Like, it didn't break away from the episode for that. He went there because he was trying to get a pizza for the plot, and then he, you know,
it's I like that. It's like a show that like it's not afraid to not have any funny jokes in an episode if it doesn't need them.
Yeah, it's always so relaxed and easy. It's easy to watch, and that makes it so, like, marathonable, where I watched all 52 episodes in 2 days, you know, and the only reason I stopped is because I was fucking tired. But, yeah, like, you can easily just sit through all of it and eat it like popcorn, where, like, with Gravity Falls, when it's doing a joke, it's breaking away from the episode. It's like, here comes Seuss to say some funny line that has nothing to do with anything. And, like, in the first few episodes, the jokes are funny enough that carries the show. But then when...
I think they stay funny enough.
When jokes start falling flat, then it's like, why did I have to cut away to that, you know? Like,
when did you stop watching, by the way?
I've seen the first 11 episodes, I think. And I want to say the first 3 I thought were, like, fucking amazingly hilarious. Then there was, like, the 4th one was okay. The one with the pig was pretty good. Then the rest of it, I was just like, like, it would be, I mean, the concepts were great. Like, when, like, the fighting game character comes out of the game, and it's fucking animated by Paul Robertson, who's, like, the only artist I've ever followed. Who's, the guy who did the animation for the Scott Pilgrim vs. the World game, and a bunch of other shit. And he also did the episode where Seuss has, like, a virtual girlfriend. Anyways, like, stuff like that's brilliant as a concept, but then, like, a lot of the jokes just wouldn't be that funny, and I just kind of lose interest halfway through the episode and be like, I don't care where this is going anymore, you know? Let's just wrap it up. I never felt that way with Steven Universe. I never felt like... there's a few episodes, like I said, where I didn't understand where it was going until the end.
It definitely goes down super smooth.
Yeah, it never made me feel like, okay...
Like, even, like,
come on.
like, if I'm watching, like, an anime that's, like, 26 episodes or something... I always, like, I'll try to marathon it. Every single time I'll get to, like, episode 11, and I'll be like, I don't want to fucking watch this anymore. And I have to stop for, like, a week.
I know that, I mean, any show that I don't, like,
even if it's
love,
a good show, like, you get to that point after 10 episodes, and it's like, fuck this.
Yeah, it's all dependent on how how it feels. Like you said, Steven goes down easy. There's been anime shows where I can easily watch 26 episodes in, like, a sitting.
You don't even really notice it. Like, it's like... Oh man, there's like 30 episodes left. Oh wait, now there's 10 episodes left. What the hell happened?
That's exactly what... When me and Shade watched it, it was just like non-stop. We just sat down, we watched like 20 episodes the first day, and then the rest of it the second day. And it was like, I'd stop like to take a pee or something. I kept having that feeling like, oh man, shouldn't we stop and like take a break? And I'm like, well... I just want to see the next episode. It's all good. I just want to know. I want to know what's gonna happen next.
There was a point where I was like, I might burn through all of this like today, and then I won't have any more to watch.
Yeah.
And I didn't know whether it was like a difficult choice whether to stop and like save it for later.
Yeah. But I couldn't. I could easily see rewatching this show like immediately. You know?
Oh yeah.
I could see rewatching like if my brother Victor decided he was going to watch all of Steven Universe and he started marathoning it, I could easily sit in his room and just watch episodes and it would be no problem. You know, there are certain shows where I see one of my brothers watching it and I've just watched it and I go, I just watched this, and I leave. And then there's shows like Rick and Morty where I show it to everyone I know because I want to see it again five more times.
Been a few,
you know?
There's a few episodes that I've watched multiple times and like gone back and watched again just because I like them.
Yeah, I think I would... Any of the episodes that have like a lot of references in them, I like immediately want to see again, you know? There's like a few episodes where it's like a lot of references. Like that one where, with all the Utna references where Pearl dies. It's also the one where they first show the Cloud Strife toy, and like I think that's the one where they had the giant dome that had the crack in it, and it looks exactly like the Akira explosion, or like the cover of the Akira DVD. Do you know what I'm talking about, Jesse?
Wait, what?
There was like a giant dome in like a wasteland that had a crack in it, and like they repair it with duct tape, because Steven lost his healing power.
Yeah.
And the giant dome, didn't it look like the cover of Akira?
I don't
like
remember.
The giant black explosion.
I don't remember Akira having a dome.
When I think of
the
dome
cover of Akira, I just think of
the atomic
on his bike.
No, that's like the movie poster, but like the actual cover of the DVD is the atomic explosion at the very beginning of the movie, where like the giant round explosion like engulfing Tokyo, but it's like it's a giant black ball over Tokyo basically, and it's the atomic bomb, but like it's black, and the way that dome looks in Steven Universe basically looks just like the Akira explosion. At least to me, it did.
Well, shit. You know what's a great episode? And great because it's terrifying. I thought it was terrifying. You guys didn't. I guess you guys weren't as spooked out by it. But the episode where Steven makes all the clones and then they all die.
Yeah. I mean...
Like, I've seen the clone thing before in a million shows, but I mean, like, Steven, like, they blatantly died. Like, one of them was, like, begging for his life. And
I remember. You know, I think that was actually... once again, I feel like I saw all the worst moments from the show before I saw it, because I saw that part, but I didn't. I had it with the sound off, like it was just on in the background in someone's room, and I saw that, and that was what made me think it was going to be like Adventure Time, were sort of emotionally manipulative. Like, look at this horrible thing we put on screen. Like,
yeah, but they don't even really acknowledge it as like something, like. And it's pretty ballsy, because like the original Steven died from like the first 30 episodes. He's dead.
Oh, wait, is he?
Well, yeah, because he was one of the ones that disappeared at the end.
I see.
Because he went back and saved, like, a past Steven.
Oh, yeah, I guess. Yeah, he said he did that song at the end where he's like, I made multiple timelines.
Yeah,
he actually...
I learned a valuable lesson from watching myself die, and then Pearl gives that look like, what the fuck? And then the episode just ends like that.
We skipped that episode on our rewatch because Shade had watched it. Shade was like, I've seen this episode 10 times, I don't want to watch it again. So I have not. I'll have to go watch it on my own now because I didn't know that happened. But yeah, that's very Rick and Morty. When they fucking go to the other timeline and kill themselves and fucking live in there.
I still love that so much.
Oh, it's perfect.
The entire universe is just fucked. Let's just leave.
Yeah. And then when it comes back later and Morty's like, every day I look out there and see my own grave. Life is fucking meaningless. Go watch TV, you know? Oh, God. That show makes my dick so fucking hard. I can't even. Everyone needs to watch Rick and Morty. I love
Steven Universe.
I love Steven Universe. Don't get me wrong. I like it. I think it's a great show. But if anyone comes up to me, if anyone's like, "Oh, Steven Universe is the best cartoon on TV," I will slap the shit out of you. Rick and Morty's right there. It's
not on TV.
I don't know. I think
it's on the website. It's on Adult Swim's website for free streaming.
I think they're all the best cartoon on TV. Like I can't say like any one.
Cartoons are the best others. Cartoons.
Like I think My Little Pony and Adventure Time and Rick and Morty and this is all the best show.
I think I love.
I like the fact
Rick
that there's a long list
now
of good shows.
Like I don't think like if any of them is someone's favorite, I wouldn't say that they're wrong.
Right. I just personally, Rick and Morty is like so next level to me that it's like beyond anything else that it's on ever. You know, like every couple of years some new thing comes out that like does everything I want a show to do. Like at that moment, and that's what Rick and Morty is for me right now. It's like this is the most perfect thing that a show could be to me. They just need to make more of it, which they're doing. And like when I first watched it, I was like, yeah, you know, maybe after another season or two it'll be my favorite show. And then I just rewatched season 1 like 8 times, and I was like, oh, I guess I didn't need another season because I've now seen it. I've now seen 70 episodes.
I want Rick and Morty to do a crossover with Steven Universe.
I would be totally down
and not
for that.
Uncle Grandpa. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how Steven Universe is very like soon going to be ruined. So it's a good thing we watched it now.
Yeah, I looked up Uncle Grandpa just to see.
Oh, you've never seen it? It's fucking
I've never seen it, and all I got was like this pizza that was talking, and it's like, I'm cool. laugh track.
The sad thing about Uncle Grandpa is when, like, the first commercials came out for it. It's funny because it came out at the same time as Steven Universe, and Uncle Grandpa was the one that I thought was going to be good out of the two, because it's, like, it's obviously from, like, that really weird, irreverent side of Cartoon Network where it's just, like, crazy shit happening. But I expected it to have, like... Because there's a lot of shows on Cartoon Network that are, like, crazy animation, and they're, like, worth watching just for the... Like, you ever watch Super Jail on Adult Swim?
I've seen it, but I don't think I've watched it, if that makes sense.
Super Jail is, like... The animation is so fucking crazy to watch. Like, everything... It's, like... Every episode is, like, one long animation take, like, the whole way through. Where, like, everything flows into each other just constantly, and it's just madness. It's so like the episode could be about nothing, and you're just, like, blown away just by looking at it, because it's such a trip. And, like, when I first saw Uncle Grandpa, I was like, maybe it'll be like that, like, because it obviously has no plot. It's the plot of the show is he's your uncle and he's your grandpa, and, like, wouldn't it be awesome if that was, like, a space dandy, like you know, space dandy? He's, like, a dandy guy in space, you know. It sounds awesome until you see it.
It came out during that time, like the post-adventure time, where all these shows were coming out, like Regular Show and Teen Titans Go. And Regular Show is another great show that I always forget about, but that's a good show too. But, like, when I first heard of, like, just the premise of Uncle Grandpa, it sounds fucking hilarious.
Yeah, and then you watch it, and it is a fucking disappointment.
And it's just like literally, that's the character.
It's actually kind of the antithesis of Steven Universe. The color design is fucking awful. The voice acting is awful. The music is awful.
Looks disgusting.
It's not funny. It has no point to any of it.
It's shockingly unfunny. Like, you'd think at some point it would be funny by accident, but not even.
I've probably sat through 2 or 3 episodes, and it was just, like, unremittingly bad. Like, nothing was enjoyable about it.
I couldn't even watch one episode. It was just that one intro with, like, it looks the talking like pizza, and
the talking pizza is in every episode.
He's just saying annoying things.
Yeah,
and
he's one of the main characters, and that's all he does. He's one of the 3 main characters.
I was hoping he wasn't, but it looks like he is.
That's like
that's sad.
Like late '90s lulz random pizza.
Steve, it's like early. It's like early Newgrounds lol to random humor. Yeah. It seems like.
Well, we were comparing it to like
the
My Gym
realistic
Partner
flying
is a
tiger
monkey
character.
era.
Is
the what?
There's a character on it called Realistic Flying Tiger or something, and like it's just a realistic, like, photoshopped tiger, and like that's literally like early 2000s internet humor.
And I'm not a big fan of the show Gumball, The Amazing World of Gumball, but like
I've heard it's good, but I don't see it.
It's not great. Just because it's got like a lot of child voice actors who don't really have good joke delivery and stuff, and it just kind of feels like it's wasted potential. But at least in that show, like, if there was a realistic flying tiger, it would actually be a character in the show, you know? Because that show's like this crazy mishmash of art styles, but it's all like a part of the show. Like, there's a character that's a T-Rex, and like half the time you just see its legs, but it's actually a character. A realistic flying tiger is like a meme that's in the show, you know? Yeah. It's pretty gross. Steven Universe, another thing that makes it fantastic. Super naturalistic voice acting a lot of the time. I love how Pearl switches between, like, she sometimes sounds like a character and sometimes sounds like just a person talking.
Yeah, like, people in real life don't really have one voice.
Right.
And in cartoons, they sort of do most of the time, and that's not really realistic.
And Garnet is, like, soft-spoken, and, like, it's funny because you could almost think that it's not a good voice performance just because it's so just, like, she's just talking. It just sounds like a British girl talking to you.
It, like, her voice sounds so realistic that it's kind of jarring at first.
Right, but at the same time, like, the point is that she's kind of awkward and doesn't talk much, you know?
Yeah.
And then when she gets, like, excited, she sounds more acty, you know? And you're like, okay, I get why she sounds this way, because the point is that it's kind of weird and awkward, that she, you know, that she doesn't sound like a character. She just sounds like a person. Whereas Amethyst super sounds like a character, but that's also how she is. She's
quite a character.
Right, if you met her in person in real life, you'd be like, she's a character, she's a card, you know. And I know people like that too. I know people who are always on that way, you know. Arguably, Jesse Wood. You could be quite a character.
No way.
You'd be quite a character.
When that girl was here recently, like, you know how, like, when you're with someone that you don't really know, like, super well, so it's kind of awkward, kind of?
Yes.
Like, my response to that
yes,
was...
I do.
My response to that was, like, the whole time I was just, like, in full drowning in footwear mode, like, always turned on.
Right.
Like, so, like, basically the whole time I just did it. That was just my voice for, like, 3 days. Because, fuck it.
I was picturing more like in your awkward ass vlogs when you're unscripted but you're trying to do the character and you're like, next I've got this it's a video game. It's a video game that I bought. I got it at the dollar store. All right, yeah. And then you like suddenly get in like something clicks and you actually give like a good speech about the game
for like 10 minutes and then
right.
It reverts back to fuck it.
I'm gonna jack off on camera now.
It's so weird because it totally
she's
happens.
just standing there in front of you. You just open the door, and then you just do that whole thing, like, "Hey, welcome to."
It's so because like that totally happens in like every time I turn on the camera. Like,
right.
It always starts like, I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna start this video off right this time, and it's gonna be like professional and normal. Hey guys, it's me. How's it going? And then fuck yeah,
dude, the same exact thing happens to me. And like,
and me,
I don't do a whole lot of vlogs, so you don't see that as much. But like, if I had face cam on during like the Let's Play videos, because all of them start off with me going, "Welcome back, it's the Digi Bros," and then we go like, "It's Digi Bros. We're bros. We're Digi. We're doing it live." And then like at some point, I just start rambling.
Like stumble over yourself and like grasp at straws, and then eventually, like accidentally, you find a thing that you have more to say about, and then you just start spewing out words, and then before you know
it's sort of just like
then you're talking normally again for a while.
It's sort of just like warm up. You got to do it.
It really is like with the Let's Plays. It's a roller coaster ride, and you don't get that as much when you're like watching it day by day. But we record them in sessions where it's like 5 videos is one session. So like, when you hear us going, like, in one video, it seems like we talked for a while and then we were awkward for a while. But when you watch, like, 5 in a row, it's like, this is what they did for an hour.
It really
it's just,
like,
go up and down in weird tones, you know?
It's probably, like, it's really a very useful tool, probably, for learning how to improvise and do comedy and stuff.
Right.
Because I've done so many vlogs and Let's Plays just rambling for like years. Like, I feel confident that I could go on a stage with no material. I have, in fact, in the past. And just like, here's what I think about brown pussy. And people would just laugh. And then I'd talk about brown pussy for a while. And everyone applauds. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of do this similar thing with my Let's Plays, but it's so much worse because I'm on my own. So, like, I start off, like, trying to be all, like, yeah, I'm doing another Let's Play, guys. Whoa, look at that.
I feel like this is the
only... And then, like, a few episodes in, I'm just like, yeah.
This is the only Steven Universe podcast where the phrase brown pussy will be uttered. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, but then, like 4 episodes into recording, I just sort of
that's
and then... Nobody cares.
That's one of the rules of the Zelda drinking game, where take a big shot whenever you can tell we're at the last episode of the recording session and we have nothing left to talk about. Oh man, none of this has anything to do with Steven Universe, except tangentially. It doesn't need to
be.
It's sort of like NXT, the WWE produced developmental like wrestling show, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. Because it's like where all the rookies are and Vince isn't controlling it, so it's like the best show ever because it's written by people who know what they're doing. But it's always filmed in the same place at this college in Florida, and they film like 4 episodes in a day. So, like, every fourth episode, the crowd is completely dead and, like, falling asleep. And, like, you can tell from watching it, like, something great will happen and, like, no one will give a shit. And you're like, oh, okay, it's the last show of the day then.
Right. Yeah, that's great. And, you know, to like, really pull it out of my ass and tie this back into Steven Universe, I think the heart of what makes a lot of the dialogue good is that it feels bigger, and like the characters acknowledge the metaphors of the show. Like, say a situation plays out that kind of draws a parallel to like what real life is like. The characters say that that's what life is like, you know? For instance, when Steven gets the future sight, and she's like, you know, I see endless possibilities, but you just gotta choose stuff and believe that you're controlling your destiny, you know? And she's like speaking about life. She's not talking just about the sci-fi concept of future sight. She's talking about something relevant to people.
And that's really like what all good sci-fi is at its core.
Right.
It's like really out there shit that's actually really true and not out there at all.
Right, but like
it could be real.
Steven Universe walks this like perfect balance between like there's times where a character says something that's almost too clever, and the best example was when Amethyst and Steven's dad are having the marathon of the show, and they're like glued to the TV, and Steven Universe gives this whole speech about like how you've got all this baggage and you can't let go, but we need to make new stuff, you know, and like I honestly couldn't tell if Steven was supposed to be talking both about their lives and about the mess in the locker, or if it was implied that Steven was just talking about the mess when really it's obvious the message is about their lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or like, yeah.
Like, was he aware that he was doing a dual message, or was he just talking about the mess and he didn't
sort of
realize?
Like there's all these like implications
Yeah.
from like Amethyst freaking out Greg. And, like, you can sort of, like, Steve's young, so he doesn't even really understand what he's seeing.
Right.
But he understands enough of it to say something smart.
Yeah, but, again, I don't, like, it's possible that he really was just talking about, like, just the task at hand.
Yeah.
And, or, you know, or maybe he knew about that he was also talking about the emotional context. I really couldn't tell. I couldn't fucking tell. It was driving me crazy. But, like, that moment, it's great. It's a great line, but it is a little bit, like, too smart. But then there's other times where a character will say something like that and then, like, acknowledge that they've said it. You know, like, yeah, like say something like that and then say, life is like that, you know? And it's like, yeah, that's like, they're thinking about it, you know?
Like,
they're not just, like saying
sometimes
something.
you'll accidentally say something kind of deep and you're like, oh, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly.
That does apply to me.
I think that adds a layer of humanity to it, where, because sometimes when someone like explains the lesson of an episode, but they do it like through in context text, then as a viewer you go, okay, I get it. They're alluding to this thing. But when the character acknowledges that they are alluding to this thing, it just grounds it more for me. Like, you know, they know that what they're saying sounds that way. Because people say this kind of stuff. People do this. I mean, that's my whole fucking job. Is I go, this scene in My Little Pony is just like an allusion to real life, you know? Like, that's what I do. And so when characters, like, acknowledge it and make it normal, then it's like, okay, yeah, that's just the way they talk. It's not the writer beating you over the head with the fucking moral. It's just the characters are talking that way because that's how they are. The Steven Universe has a lot of moments, it's sort of in both directions. There's some moments where I felt like it was being super clever and sort of showy, but then there's other times where it's like they were really, that's just what the character's thinking about. You know, especially with Garnet. She's, and Pearl. Anything they say is like very, they know what they're saying. And I like that, and I feel like I had something else to say, and I lost track of it.
Steven.
We did it.
Do you have anything else to say about Steven Universe, guys? Any parting thoughts?
My gem would be turquoise. That's my gem.
Oh yeah, do either of you guys know the C-Lab 2021 opening?
Yeah.
Just every time I think of the song, I think, we are the crystal gems That is where you'll find me, underneath the sea lab. And like I just kept every fucking time. I just autocomplete.
It is a really good theme song. Like you hear it once and you feel like it sort of reminds you of everything.
We are the crystal gems. We always save the day. And if you think we can't, we'll always find a way. That's why the people of this world believe in garnet, amethyst, and pearl.
And brown pussy!
Every time she says "and pearl," I get wet.
Yeah, me too, kinda.
The way she says it is just beautiful. She has like that super high register and then like the vibrato and I love Pearl.
Yeah, she's
brown
best,
pussy.
She's best brown pussy. that's their names.
I think it's time for us to go, guys.
Crystal brown pussies.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Yeah, that's it. All right, stop your recordings and friend to your files.